Hi, everyone. Welcome back for episode 37 of the Simply One podcast. I'm your host, Colin. I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
How we doing, everybody?
We're just a couple of best friends who are passionate about all things pop culture. If you're looking for lukewarm takes on movies, video games, TV shows, or even the occasional comic, then we've got the show for you.
Better straighten up over there.
I'm just all breathy. Something about being able to hear yourself makes you breathe heavier. I don't know why. But no, this week we went and saw the highly anticipated Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, before we give our thoughts on that, talk about John Wick Chapter 4 getting a new trailer. That's first official trailer. You figure I think it had like a minute-long teaser a few months back. A John Wick spinoff that we've talked about before, Ballerina.
Yeah.
It has some casting news and things like that.
I got so much to talk about that.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
We got an update on Margot Robbie's Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Yeah.
And then Andor is expanding beyond Disney Plus.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's it? Well, we'll get into it.
You'll find out.
Oh,
Easy, girl. The new DC heads are laying out a multi-year plan for the universe, right? Which, yep, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then the Game Awards announced all of their nominees today, actually. So we'll cut through some of those. Don't know if we'll read each one off or if we'll just kind of touch on the highlights, you know. But before we get into all of that news, I do want to take a minute to talk about Kevin Conroy passing away. We made a post on our Facebook page and our Instagram, but just in general, Kevin Conroy is he's famous for being the voice of Batman in the 90s animated series, as well as the Arkham video games, several of the Batman animated films, and I think he's done appearances on, like, I think he was the voice of Batman in the Justice League animated series, and all kinds of things like that. He was 66 when he passed, and apparently he had a short battle with cancer. But I wanted to read off, the Hollywood Reporter actually did a good little write-up on him, and I just want to quote the first, like, paragraph or two. Let me see here. So they say that Conroy voice starred in the acclaimed Batman the Animated Series from 1992 to 1996 and continued with the role through nearly 60 different productions, spanning 15 films and 400 episodes of television, as well as video games. In recent years, he was a fixture on the comic convention circuit. And then there's a quote from his casting and dialogue director, Andrea Romano, and she says, "Kevin was far more than an actor whom I had the pleasure of casting and directing. He was a dear friend for 30 plus years whose kindness and generous spirit knew no boundaries. Kevin's warm heart, delightfully deep laugh, and pure love of life will be with me forever." And yeah, I mean, there's obviously been just a ton of fans on, like, you know, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, just posting like some of their favorite Batman clips and things like that. And I mean, I mentioned it in like the in our post on Facebook that, like, you know, that's what Batman sounds like to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I was born, full disclosure, I was born in 96. So, like, in my early years when I watched a Batman cartoon, it was Kevin Conroy being the voice of Batman. And I kind of told you I had a toy laptop that was the Bat computer.
Yeah.
And when you know, I mean, it was an edutainment toy. When you popped it open, it had wings that popped out and it made all sounds. And Kevin Conroy's voice would go, "Bat computer online." And I was like, oh my God, I'm on the Bat computer, you know? And
He just slowly vengeance.
yeah, I mean, that was it. And I, like I told you, I played that shit so much that, like, my mom, I think it became a problem, you know, where, like, I was trying to figure out ways to open it without it making sound, because my mom would be like, "Colin James, go to bed," you know? You know?
You just spat your middle name.
Yeah, I'd be all right. But, yeah, so just, you know, for me, that's a kind of a personal loss as far as, like, oh, that's something from my childhood that, like, that's Batman's voice.
Yeah,
he's Batman and he's gone, you know. But so, like we've mentioned, I mean, just rest in peace, right, and all that good stuff. And obviously, thoughts with his family. Cancer is horrendous. So, and like we mention all the time when this comes up, there's no good way to get out of these segments. So we're just going to move on with the news.
Yep. Talk about John Wick. That's right.
So John Wick Chapter 4 got its first official trailer, and we saw quite a few interesting things in there, I felt. We got to see a peek at Bill Skarsgård being some like fancy pants man from the table, who it seems like maybe he's playing a Frenchman.
Which makes sense. I mean, everyone else who was on the table was fairly young, and Bill Skarsgård is a younger guy.
Yeah,
so.
I mean I'm kind of excited to see him in an action role because I've never seen him do action. I don't think.
We got a sneak peek in Deadpool 2.
I mean, no, he died. He was dead on arrival. He was dead before he hit the ground. But no, and it seems like John's whole goal is going to be to challenge him to a duel, and that'll kind of earn him his like freedom or his safety from the table, I guess, because of him being excommunicated and really going hard on the whole organization, right? And so for some reason it's like, well, yeah, if you fight and kill that one guy, you're solid.
You're square.
And there was like a vague mention by, I don't remember if it was Lawrence Fishburne or Ian McShane. I think it was Ian McShane's character where he says something about like apparently John Wick's family has a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And you see like
that was
maybe his sister. Because after that line, there's like a shot of him and a dark-haired woman. Like
it could be.
So maybe I wonder if like a sister is on the table. But there was a cool shot in there that I just wrote in here. He fucks someone up with nunchucks.
Yeah.
Like he's just repeatedly beating the dude in the head with nunchucks. And then...
he killed a man with a pencil. A fucking pencil. Who the hell does that?
And then we saw some desert action on horseback.
Yeah.
And then there's a good shot of him with, car door missing, doing like a doughy,
good,
popping shots out the side.
Good car.
Some car action.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it looks like John Wick.
I'm excited. I hope that this was their last one, though.
I think they're making a fifth one. I think they're doing a 5-parter. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel like I read that.
I guess, I mean, if the fourth one really is good, it leaves you on a good enough cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Then I'll be for it, but...
they're really going to the well here.
Yeah, they're pushing it with the third one.
Here shortly, it's going to get dry.
Yeah.
With that in mind, both Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane are reprising their roles in the Wick spinoff Ballerina that will star Ana de Armas. Mm-hmm. So that apparently began production this week. So we should see that within a year and a half. Yeah. If they're shooting now.
Which I think would be interesting because, like, I think we got talking. I'm not sure if we talked about it on the podcast. Mm-hmm. I find the world of the Continental
we talked
more
about last
interesting
week.
Than John Wick.
Yeah. John's not the most interesting character in John Wick. Mm-hmm. It's the universe.
So I'm excited to see more stuff around that.
And I would honestly love for John Wick to not be a big character in it, but like have like a weird, almost like a parallel story where like maybe the ballerina's off doing stuff and she crosses paths with John Wick during one of his movies, you know? And you're like, oh, what's going on there?
That'd be cool.
And depending on the schedule of production, maybe it's in chapter 4. You know what I mean? They could introduce Ana de Armas in chapter 4. But I don't know if she's in it or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Something I will say that's
pull a Marvel and put her in a post-credit scene.
Something like I'm not... A part of me is like... I feel like he's going to die. Right? Because his luck's got to run out.
Right. Well, and it's like...
But I think I'm like... Man, the whole purpose of John Wick is like... When you think he's dead, he's not.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's his whole...
I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah.
You know,
all the way from
from
the first one.
He could be with his wife. And his dog.
I don't know if I want him to die, though. Like, I want him to be like, he's
right
able
off
to retire.
Into the sunset with his new dog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His nice Ford Mustang.
Right, yeah. Maybe get him a lady. No? No, he's got to be alone for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's got to have the dog.
I mean, he can still have the dog.
Scrap the dog. He's got to be in solitude.
He's going to live alone. I don't want him to die. I want him to be alone for the rest of his life. Like a man. But yeah, so I mean, I love me some Ana de Armas. I really love her in both Blade Runner 2049 and the detective one, Knives Out.
Yeah,
she's very good in Knives Out.
You need to settle down. You're married.
talking about a woman's acting ability, and you're like, you better chill out over there. I'm over here twisting my ring. She acts when she's puking in Knives Out. My God.
God.
Jeezy Pete's. No, legitimately, she's a very gifted actress, and I would like to see her do some action.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen her. I know that she got a little actiony bit in the most recent James Bond, but I didn't see it.
I know.
So, but I know that like in the trailers they had a little
I hear
action
James
scene
Bond
for her.
dies in that one, though.
Yeah.
That was the final one.
And it gets like fucking vaporized. Well, it's not the last one. There's always been James Bonds.
Well, yeah, but the end of this saga.
Yeah, the
series.
end of Daniel Craig as Bond.
Yeah.
Old Bondy boy. So, speaking of powerful female actresses, Margot Robbie gave an interview with Variety here recently when she was talking about her new movie Babylon. Mm-hmm. And somehow it came to be the topic of discussion was her Pirates of the Caribbean spinoff. That's been in some stage of pre-production for a minute, where it was supposed to be like not a Pirates of the Caribbean, but for girls. But like it was going to have some of the like we see some female pirates in one of the movies, and then they kind of like move on, you know, they're like a side character almost. Sure. And this was going to be like, oh well, what's that ship of
picking up where that left off?
Yeah, we're like a very young Zoe Saldana is in. I think it's Pirates 2. And she's on that ship. And so it was going to kind of maybe be about that. And her quote was, Robbie's quote was, we had an idea and we were developing it for a while, ages ago, to have more of a female-led, not totally female-led, but just a different kind of story, which we thought would have been really cool. But I guess they just don't want to do it, is what she said about Disney. And apparently Variety kind of reached out to Disney for like a statement. And Disney was like... crickets. And the Hollywood Reporter was also like, oh, let's reach out to Disney and see if we can get it. Nothing. So Disney was like, yeah, we're not even going to address this. Like, and so I mean, I don't think it's a female thing. I think it's Pirates of the Caribbean is dead.
Yeah, and I think they're probably not going to do anything. No, especially after.
And I just read where like Disney's looking at layoffs. And some budget cuts. So
Disney. Bullshit. They own everything.
I mean, Amazon's laying off like 10,000 people, and so is Twitter. Well,
it's kind of corporate greed.
And Meta is laying off a bunch of people. So
all these damn billionaires getting too worried about that fourth fucking comma on their check rather than paying their workers gets my blood boiling. We gotta change the topic.
Yeah. But no, so speaking of Disney, so Disney Plus's Andor is making leaps to other networks. So the first 2 episodes are set to air across all of Disney's like distribution platforms or channels, whatever you want to call them, which includes ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu. And the episodes are set to air over the Thanksgiving holiday, which is going to overlap or coincide with the season 1 finale.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of interesting because they're doing it like, I mean, it's live television, so you've got to do it on a schedule. So it's like on this day, you'll be able to watch it on this trailer or on this channel at like from 9:30 to 10:30. And then this channel from this day, this time to this time. And so I think that's their way of trying to get people to, but I think they needed to do the first 3 episodes because the first 2 episodes are kind of slow. And then the third episode kind of is like
starts to
pick up some more, and then you've grabbed them. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, no, how do I watch the rest of this? Right. You watch it on fucking Disney Plus, and then they go and they subscribe, right? Well, you've got all the family together for the holidays, and you've got someone like you or I being like, Mom, have you watched Andor? And then we pull it up, and she's like, how do I keep watching this?
Right?
And that's their goal, is to try and pick up some subscribers.
I mean, it's definitely a good one, a good show to recommend.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best Star Wars stuff we've had in
a while.
A hot moment. Like Mandalorian season 1. But like as far as episode to episode quality, I think it's probably one of the better shows.
Yeah.
But
very heavy on the politics, which I like.
Which is actually I think is interesting. They managed to make the politics more interesting in this than like in the prequels, which were kind of politic heavy, but like in a snoozy way.
Yeah.
Where it's like talking about trade blockades and shit, and you're like, oh, hey, I know Yoda, you just perk back up. But after only 1 week in their roles, The DC CEOs, James Gunn and Peter Safran, have are fired. No, they've met with Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, and Zaslav has been saying for like the better part of the year, basically like, I want a DC leader who will, for all intents and purposes, turn this bitch into Marvel, as far as like the model, right? He wanted a James Gunn, or he wanted a Kevin Feige to kind of just, I don't want to have to worry about that thing.
Right.
You guys run it. Make each movie connect to the next. This movie sells the next movie.
Right.
Right. We can start making some money off these $200 million movies. Right.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of money to just throw at the wall and then go, we cut even. It's like, excellent. But I lost my spot here. Apologize. James Gunn noted that like, while in their meeting, that he and Peter Safran have begun working on a long-term plan on the overarching story of the DC universe. Mm-hmm. And his quote was, "The opportunity to make DC as great as it can be and as it should be. That's the reason why I'm doing this job, because I know that Peter and I can do that. We spent the past couple days with a group of some of the best thinkers in the industry, the best writers in the industry, starting to map out that 8 to 10 year plan of what it's going to look like in theater, in TV, in animation, across the board for these characters."
Yeah.
Excuse me. You got a squeaky mic over there.
I do.
Sound like you're squeegeeing the window. And he went on to he had some words about how he thought, like, he loves the characters of Batman and Superman and how they interact with each other. And he loves the ways that those two are similar and the ways that they're different, and just how they're, they make great foes and great friends. And that there's a lot to tell with like that main core cast of heroes. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to dig at the bottom of the barrel to find a good DC hero or a good DC story. And I think something like Joker proves that too. Yeah. Where it's like, you ain't got to reinvent the wheel, guy. You've got some of the most recognizable lunchbox superheroes.
Right.
I mean, it's like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. 2 of the 3 are DC.
Yeah.
As far as like, a kid wants what for, this 8th grade or this 8-year-old kid wants what on his backpack? Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I mean, obviously with like the Marvel movies now, you got more like, I want Iron Man or Black Panther or whatever. But, for the longest time, that was the bread and butter was you got Spider-Man comics and Spider-Man cartoons, and the Justice League was the big cartoon. And, obviously like with Kevin Conroy, the Batman animated series, things like that. But yeah, so I'm just excited to hear that like they're already getting to work on what seems like a very obvious, we need to sit down and map out the next 8 to 10 years of this thing.
Where the fuck are we taking this?
And David Zaslav was like, "Oh my fucking God, yes, thank you." I don't know why it took you guys to come up with that, but preach,
Thank you. God. Fuck.
And I trust their ability to come up with something coherent and,
That's
and
not
fun
gonna
and
flop.
different. Yeah, exactly. And so now the last thing we're going to talk about is the Game Awards nominees. So let me switch pages here with my fancy dancy iPad here. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Fuck.
I wouldn't dare. Oh, that's the wrong button.
Gee, thanks, Apple.
Thanks a heap. Apple. That's fine here.
Pick
So the Game Awards nominees were announced today, the nominations. Today is the 14th. And God of War Ragnarok is leading with 10 awards nominated. Good. And so that's pretty exciting. I figure, the Game of the Year nominees, we were kind of talking about this, not yesterday, but the day prior, I think.
Yeah, what games we
thought
our
might,
predictions.
Yeah. And we weren't too far off. We had 3 of the 6. Or actually, we had 4 of the 6. So, A Plague Tale Requiem, which I haven't played, but I have played the first one, and it's pretty fun. Elden Ring, which we thought that's a shoo-in. God of War Ragnarok, which we were pretty confident in. Horizon Forbidden West.
Which I recommend, or I said was
and then Stray, which we both were like, yeah, it's probably on the list. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Never played.
I haven't played the first 2 either.
Let's see. I'm not going to jump through a bunch of them, but like Best Game Direction has a lot of this. I mean, it's literally Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Stray, and something called Immortality. Best Narrative is A Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Immortality. Art Direction, Elden Ring, God of War, Horizon, Scorn, Stray. So yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot of the same people pop up. I did want to point out that, let me find it here. Best Performance has both Christopher Judge, who plays Kratos, and Sonny Soljic, who plays Atreus, nominated for Best Performance.
Oh, good.
And then let me find here. I thought this was an interesting one. Best Debut for an indie game. Stray is nominated. So I'm like, damn, the fact that that's their debut game and it's a potential game of the year. I don't think it'll win. But to just be up there,
the fact that
to
it's
be
up
in
there.
the same breath as Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok,
That's a lot.
That's huge. And so, yeah, I mean, props to them. Like I said, I don't think they're going to win.
I think they'll come in third. I hope
Yeah.
they come in third.
Yeah. I don't think they do like ranked choicing, but in our heart of hearts, they're third place.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in my heart of hearts, they're second place.
Yeah. But I'm trying to be realistic with other audiences. I don't think that they'll be in second.
Because, like, full disclosure, Elden Ring didn't tickle me. I
I never played any of the Dark Souls, so the game was really hard to play for me because I just didn't really understand the mechanisms like some other people did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't do it for me. I know that I'm in the minority on that. I'm willing to accept that.
I think you and I are both in the minority on that.
Yeah. So I do think that it'll probably win Game of the Year. But for me, so far,
I hope it's God of War. I hope it turns around, dude. If
they pull another fast one,
bro,
literally, let's have them lose all of their categories.
I have so many friends that play Xbox, I'd just be shitting on them by it's fucking nuts that God of War came out one game of the year and then did it again when the second one dropped.
Just disappeared for 4 years, came back and went skadoosh. Suck my nuts. Elden Ring.
Someone say round 2.
Because I mean, you figure they were the upset. They beat Red Dead Redemption 2, which for me wasn't an upset. I mean, I was happy.
Very good game.
I was happy and understanding with either one.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick. I don't even remember if I voted because that's the other thing. It is like audience voted. Mm-hmm. So I do think Elden Ring will win because of that. Because I feel like they've got some pretty intense fans.
Neckbeards. What?
Just some. I like neckbeards. You mean losers?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying they've got losers for fans? No, that's not what I said, Chris.
I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. So.
But no, I think those were like the major nominees for me. Bunch of odds and ends. Like they have a bunch of esports categories that I'm not down on, but
I'm surprised.
You got it.
It's a Nintendo Switch game.
This is you, baby.
No, Sword and Shield's been out from a Pokemon
Arceus or however it's pronounced. Yeah, I didn't see it in here.
Because from what I've heard, that was a game that like everyone's been sleeping on. Because on Friday I'm gonna go out and buy Violet for my Switch, and apparently in a Pokemon Arceus, is it?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Arceus,
Arceus, Chunky Monkey.
So Pokemon Chunky Monkey. Apparently, everyone was sleeping on it because it really starts to open up into the more open world aspect,
style, yeah,
and as well as like better transitions with coming into contact with like a wild Pokemon, where you can throw it, and just try to catch the Pokemon prior to fighting. I don't know, like I think that's like really fucking cool. Yeah, and so I hear that they're adapting and doing more shit like that for this new one. So I'm hoping that it's more like that because I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, some open world. There were two other categories I wanted to mention.
Mention them.
Most anticipated game. So for next year, or the future.
Yeah.
So they've got Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4 remake, Starfield, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. For me, that's a tough category because like I'm not as into it for like Morgan is, like Hogwarts. I'm excited for it, but I'm not like, oh fuck, if I can only buy one game.
Right.
Like if I can only get one game out of this list,
it's
I think it's
Legend of
Starfield.
Zelda.
I think it might be Starfield for me.
Starfield.
Yeah.
What's the other one that I was talking about too? Is it Star Citizen? Dude.
it wasn't. It was my iPad, and there's no way for me to turn that sound off, I don't think.
You always get on my case with my phone.
Dude, you know what? Don't. Just, you know what, mother? I'm sure there's a do not just. Oh, dude, right there, do not disturb.
Yeah, was it Star Citizen that I was talking to you about? I saw a bunch of TikToks about it, and I kept sending it to you. But like, apparently that game flops. But it's. I think I might roll the dice. I might buy it.
I might buy Star Citizen.
I might.
So, best adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like movie to or game to movie or whatever or TV show. So Arcane League of Legends, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, which was apparently a really good show.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on that.
The Cuphead show, which I didn't watch.
Oh, dude, I fucking love Cuphead.
Oh yeah,
I'm
good
so
stuff.
bad at it though.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Uncharted. I mean,
I thought Uncharted
we
was
didn't
good.
hate it. Yeah.
Nah. Yeah,
We ate our words on that one.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean those were just some of the highlights for me. You can go to thegameawards.com and vote on all of those, I believe.
They really need to make a game adaptation for Morbius and get Jared Leto to voice him still.
Honestly, you making that joke made me think. A slight update on last week's story from Gears of War is that Dave Bautista is going to be playing Marcus Phoenix. He's like the lead character of those games.
Yeah.
Like we said, for us, doesn't mean anything because we don't know him, but or we don't know the character. We know who Dave Bautista is. Who's Dave Bautista? Didn't ring a bell. No, so if you're ready, I want to talk about Black Panther.
Yeah, so do I. Let's hop in it.
Let's talk about it. So, Rotten Tomatoes. We'll start with the scores like we do. The critics gave it an 84%. The audience gave it a 95. IMDb has it at a 7.4 out of 10. And Metacritic has it at a 67 out of 100. Oh. So, kind of across the board there a little bit. And all in the upper, you're looking at C plus to A plus.
Sure.
You're here to A. Budget of $250 million. It had a domestic box office, so U.S. and Canada, of $181.3 million this weekend. And worldwide of $331.6 million. So
it's already made its money back and then some.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you double it for the marketing. So even if it's fine. But there's people who are vastly more like number crunchers as far as box office goes, who are looking at it and saying that like, depending if it holds similarly to like the first Black Panther and things like that, this one will make less money than the first Black Panther.
Yeah.
Which
I can understand that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a understandable reason for that. So, do you have a synopsis ready?
I do.
Dude, you've already got it pulled up over there, don't you?
The Queen of Wakanda, Shuri, M'Baku, was it Oka?
Okoye.
Okoye. Fight to protect their nation from the invading world powers in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with Nakia and Everett Ross to forge a new path for their beloved kingdom.
Yes. Sorry, I disagreed with one of the things in there. I did not a reflection of you.
No, I just go ahead.
We'll talk about it in spoilers.
Okay.
One of the things in there, I'm like,
I know exactly what it is too.
Are you sure? So, spoiler-free plot thoughts. That was very
aggressive.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
The mics are good.
Yeah, they are. Spoiler-free plot. I thought the plot was really good. There were some certain things I wasn't expecting to see.
Yeah.
And we'll get into them in spoilers.
Yeah.
That I was really glad to have seen.
Okay.
I do feel like there's certain points where it could have been a little better.
Yeah.
But overall, I guess like I was happy with it. I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah.
I had someone ask me at work, because he's like, yeah, I know you're pretty critical about like movies and stuff like that when it comes to dissect them. Is Black Panther worth seeing in theaters? And that like took me off guard. And I was like, honestly, probably not.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, it's a good movie, and like I know it's going to be out on Disney Plus, and
yeah.
I'm excited because I know I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, but I don't
think you're missing much.
Yeah.
Not for theaters, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we'll kind of get into that with our...
Yeah, sorry, I got ahead of myself,
but
it was something that just popped in my head.
With our ratings and stuff, but do you have more plot thoughts? I don't want to cut you off.
No, sorry. Typically, you go first.
Yeah. So I thought it did a good job of honoring Chadwick Boseman as well as T'Challa.
Mm-hmm.
Very
much so.
Where it was very much a tribute to both, the actor and the character. And I did find out that I just completely blanked on the writer-director's name. He wrote and directed Creed. He directed Creed. Oh, my God. You got him over there?
You said director?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Coogler.
Coogler. Yeah. Ryan Coogler.
What'd I say?
Coogler.
Oh, Coogler.
Coogler. No, so...
Maybe I'm dyslexic.
You could be. Put the red sheet over your screen. It helps you read better. I don't know if that's fact, but when I was in grade school, the kid that had dyslexia had like colored sheets that they put over their paper to read. Don't know why that fixes it, but no, I know that Ryan Coogler worked pretty closely with Chadwick Boseman's family to make sure that everything was respectful.
No, of course.
But what kind of things do you want to see and that sort of thing. And I felt like it was a very natural continuation of the story under the circumstances.
Yes.
Where, okay, if you take at face value that T'Challa is dead, Chadwick Boseman is dead, this is like a natural continuation of that, or an extension of what that would look like. Mm-hmm. I thought the conflict in it felt pretty realistic.
Oh, yeah.
And understandable. I did think it was a little long. Where it's a nearly 3-hour movie. It's the second longest Marvel movie.
I kind of go back and forth on that.
It felt long to me.
There was only one spot where I was like, okay,
I think there's a solid 30 minutes you can cut out of this thing.
But that's the thing. I feel like the spot where I'm like, okay,
falls in that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not a 30-minute stretch. It's
there's
pieces.
I think there's like a 10-minute stretch where I was like, this.
No, I'm saying the stuff you can cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Adds up to about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
For me. It didn't connect to like the overall world as far as like Marvel goes. Not too much at all, which is both good and bad, I feel. Because it's like, okay, yeah, this is supposed to be about T'Challa and things like that, and what the world looks like moving on, right? But also, we're 6 movies in to this phase, and and several shows, and still we don't have a good grasp on where we're headed.
What's going on? How are these gonna
tie together here? Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a viewer who's like informed of like, here's all the upcoming movies and things like that, we know what the no puns intended, what the end game of this is.
It's just starting to lead up to make me think like this is going to be a big hodgepodge,
right? And
that's not going to be good.
Not exciting. Yeah. So they've got some groundwork to do.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping that like, because there was a lot of rumors, and I try not to get caught up in like makes me think of like Wakanda or WandaVision, where everybody was like, well, it's the devil. I can't think of his fucking Mephisto. Everybody was like, it's Mephisto. It's Mephisto.
And it wasn't.
It was not, And so I'm trying not to get caught up in stuff like that. But like there were a lot of people who thought that maybe like we would get some Doctor Doom, in maybe a post credits or
nothing.
Nothing, or not even like a name drop of like maybe Latveria, which is his country. Nothing. And so I was like, give me something, right? That connects it further. And then it sounds like a silly thing, but if you see the movie, I think you'll agree with me. Some of the costumes really didn't do it for me. Like there's a few that I'm like, boo, gag.
Yeah.
Like, how'd you land on that? Was my like.
I just feel like with the costumes that they had, like from the first one, taking that and moving it to the second one, they could have done so much better.
I always think of like, and this isn't. I mean, I don't want to drag on anything, but like, I was thinking about like how good the first Iron Man suit looks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that was 2008 on a much smaller budget.
Right.
You can get a costume better.
Right.
There's some third act stuff in this that when I saw clips and stuff slowed down and things like that, look like PS3 graphics.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. And that does come back to crunch, things like that. What are they doing to these visual effects artists, as far as pressuring them and rushing them?
Which I feel like has been a problem more and more.
Yeah.
Which is something we'll probably talk about later.
Yeah. Do you have more plot thoughts?
No, for the plots, everything I said then. Yeah, everything that you said I 100% agree with.
Characters and chemistry. I thought Shuri does a decent job of trying to carry the film.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Shuri did a really good job of with T'Challa dying, and it's just her and her mother, kind of like the impact on her solely versus talking to other people about it, right? Because including her mom, she's like, she's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Kind of discover she is not fine.
She is not fine.
Far from.
Yeah.
And she does a really good job of having that split difference.
Yeah, and her and her mom mourning very differently.
Very.
In that I think honestly her mom's handling it pretty well, all things considered.
Oh yeah.
She's not fine, but for it being a year after her son has passed away, pretty suddenly,
right.
She's doing all right. And then she's just not. She hasn't grieved, right? It seems to be the thing for her. But there was a good balance, I thought, of the supporting cast members.
Oh yeah.
Well, so the supporting cast members from the first movie, a lot of them become main characters, which makes sense.
Yeah.
There's some characters, honestly, that could have been cut out of the movie, and that kind of ties into my 30 minutes, I think, of time saving.
I'm thinking of those characters.
You know who they are.
Yeah.
It's the same reason I laughed at the synopsis. And it's funny, I saw an article earlier that was the headline was literally my thought. I was I'm not unique. Namor, I think, was probably the most interesting character of the movie. I enjoyed seeing his kingdom. I forget what it's called. Jamie, pull it up. You got it.
It's not pulling up.
I like that from my perspective. You leaned forward and jiggled the mouse and went, I don't know, as opposed to typing in a search. What is Namor's? That microphone has fucking feet, right?
You put me on the spot, and I just put in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Namor's Land, call the question mark.
Did it give you anything?
I deleted it. Okay.
Because you could have entered on that, and Google would have been like, "We got you." The suspense.
Talokan. Talokan.
Telokan, yeah.
Talokan.
All right, cool.
Talokan.
Talokan.
I'm not great with the pronunciation words.
Nope, that is not.
It's not my strong
Not
suit.
Dishonesty, I'll tell you. No. You're being fully transparent.
Mm-hmm. I try
to be. No, so I did. I enjoyed seeing Telokan.
Yeah.
The way he justified this behavior did make for an interesting villain of sorts, where it kind of fell in the same purview of a Killmonger, where he's not entirely wrong,
But it just seems a little stretched.
Yeah,
it's all right, dude,
you're extreme,
yeah.
But I see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think just does make a more compelling villain.
Sure. Especially the ones that we can relate to and be like, yeah.
Yeah, where you're like, I mean, if he was a few steps back on the extremism scale, he wouldn't be a villain.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? Which I think is a good villain. Where if you told a story from his perspective, would he be the hero of his story?
All right.
Probably. I don't have too much more on characters or chemistry. What you got over there, girl?
For not spoilers. Honestly, I thought Shuri and Namor's chemistry
was really good.
Was good.
Yeah.
The conversations that they had and everything like that. They both did have a heart to heart where
Yeah.
It's like that makes sense. Some of the conversation that they have, like,
Yeah.
it felt real. Like,
Yeah.
it felt, everything was there.
Yeah.
And then obviously we'll dive in deeper.
Right. No pun intended. Oh my god. Now you want to rate this thing?
Yeah.
All right. So how do we rate stuff?
Oh, you're overwhelmed, which means you were thoroughly enjoyed with the film, and your expectations were met and surpassed. You can be underwhelmed, which means you were disappointed with the movie. Your expectations weren't quite met, and then you can always meet in the middle and be simply whelmed.
Yeah. Are we doing a 3, 2, 1?
3, 2, 1.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Whelming.
Overwhelmed. I checked both boxes. I checked both boxes. So, if I'm honest, like, I want to say something, and I'm gonna uncheck overwhelmed after we talked about it more. I think I had more fun and Black Adam. Not saying it was an overall better film, but as far as like having a good time watching it, I think I had more fun with Black Adam.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, we're like,
I'm reluctant, but I can get behind it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. And I think it's a gut instinct of like, that can't be right. You know what I mean? But like, I think about us watching the trailers for Wakanda Forever and like looking at each other and being like, I got fucking goosebumps. I never got goosebumps watching it. You know?
One of the biggest things I wanted to talk about, are we in spoilers?
Yeah.
Their fucking soundtrack flopped.
Yeah, like it didn't have anything.
And which really pisses me off because I'm fairly certain they played Kendrick Lamar in some of the trailers.
In the trailer, yeah, they put No Woman, No Cry, and it transitions into All Right by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Everything gonna be all right.
Dude, and it's like, how are you gonna have the first one where The Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar make just a killer fucking album on that?
Yeah.
Tease it for the second one and then not do it. And that's like, honestly, that was my biggest reason. I was like, you don't have to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing to like, you gotta have the theater speakers,
right,
rumbling through. And that was something that was really like, I was genuinely really bummed about.
Yeah.
I get so excited, like with the first Black Panther, the soundtrack was just phenomenal. 10 out of 10, in my honest opinion. And that was a big letdown. Big ol' swing and a miss.
Yeah, I agree. It opens with T'Challa dying, like a cold open. It doesn't even...
Which...
I mean, yeah, you got to address it right up front.
They played that right.
Obviously, you never see him. I wasn't sure how they were going to do that. I was like, there's no right answer. You got to kill him off screen, unfortunately, I think.
Yeah.
Which I guess is also the most tasteful. And it seems like they made T'Challa potentially die from cancer.
They said a sudden illness.
A sudden illness or an undisclosed illness was what Everett Ross says. Yeah. And so it's like... And it sounds like they kind of kept the same story as what happened with Chadwick Boseman, and like he kept it a secret.
Yep.
Didn't tell anybody but his very, very immediate family. Where like I don't think his mom or sister knew even. Or maybe mom did, but not his sister.
Yeah.
But like Nakia knew. But and so I thought that was interesting to go. Well, we'll just. And then that's kind of ties in with what I talked about with like honoring Chadwick Boseman as well as getting the blessing from his family. Of like, okay, how do we do this appropriately? Mm-hmm. And then they had a really touching thing where like the Marvel Studios logo was played with no fanfare. It was just a pitch quiet, basically a moment of silence, and every single like character flash that was
Boseman.
Some shot of Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa or Black Panther. And
which I will say
that teared me up.
Yeah, I will say it was dead silent in that theater too. Which
it was crickets. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Everyone there was very respectful in that aspect.
Yeah, where it was like, I mean, it touched you a little bit, and I got a little teary eyed, and was like, oh, damn. Like, yeah, he's and then they open with his funeral, which like you and I talked about, his coffin. Was a little wonky.
Was a little bad
animation wise.
I need to go back and rewatch it to confirm this.
Yeah, because I didn't see it. You talked about it right after the movie ended, but I didn't see it.
It stood out to me like as clear as day.
Can I say what you got to say? And I think I know why it would have been the case.
So you see everyone dancing, right? And the camera's like panning in, following, like this trail or the street.
In front of the procession.
Right. And one guy just stops dancing and looks right at the camera. And so, like, I look at him and I was like, ooh, that was... And then, like, another guy, like, is looking... He's still dancing, but he's looking right at the camera. And I'm like...
I'm fairly certain the camera was supposed to be the perspective of the funeral procession.
But why was it only 2 people out of that entire group?
I don't know. But they were looking at the funeral procession.
I gotta
it didn't jump out to me as... Also, it's a crowd shot, and if you got a couple people looking... I mean, yeah, it caught you, but I think you're an oddball.
I'm just built different.
Well, different, not better. Like, what? Wait.
No,
yeah.
Please, come
on. So I talked about it. I was not crazy about... Like, I'm going to jump around a little bit because I just kind of have some thoughts.
Sure.
2 things. First thing, Everett Ross, which is...
Detective... Detective Roger Rabbit?
No.
CIA agent?
He's CIA, but Martin Freeman is the actor's name. He really doesn't need to be in this movie.
No.
He was in this movie because he was in the first movie, but he didn't have anything to do in this movie.
He really didn't.
And every time he was on screen, I was like, all right, yeah, let's get back to the actual movie.
Right.
And like, he has one scene with any of the characters, and then the only other interactions that he has with like the Wakandans is through phone call.
Yeah.
Cut him the fuck out of the movie. Get him out of there. Mm-mm. Get him out of there.
Put him in a body bag.
Because like, also he has a few scenes with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is playing the long-ass name Del Fontaine, who I think is going to kind of be like the the Nick Fury of the Thunderbolts. I do. I think that's kind of her character is like the assembler, But fucking I don't know, man. She didn't assemble anybody in this movie, so I don't know why she was in it.
Literally, their whole purpose of the movie was resolved within like 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, get him out of there. Because then also like he gave information to the Wakandans.
And he gets sent to
jail.
And
then he gets sent to jail.
And then they pick him up and rescue him.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Like, okay.
That's literally the whole thing with Everett Ross.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think the combined screen time of him, get him out of there, and you save a lot of screen time on this movie.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's a nearly 3-hour movie. And it feels it at times, and it doesn't need to be 3 hours. I thought, so talking about the costumes and the visual effects, Shuri is making the guard, the Dora Milaje, like basically Iron Man suits. And Okoye is like, no, they're ugly. She was right. They were ugly.
Yeah.
They were called what, like the Midnight Angels?
Yeah, didn't like them.
They were ugly.
They had nothing wrong with the original suits. They were badass. They had those cool ass spears.
I thought they were less cool as the Midnight Angels.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed in them. And like, they almost looked like Predator. Like, do you remember with the
tassels on the back?
But do you remember the Nickelodeon? I think it was Nickelodeon. My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Yes.
Make that a Predator. That's what they looked like.
Yes.
And Ironheart's second suit in the third act. They hated it too.
You didn't like it?
No, it was chunky and ugly and uninspired, and like it just read like a too glossy Iron Man suit. With none of the like, cool mechanicalness of,
I was a little upset with.
I liked her first suit, her Mark 1.
Her Mark 1 was really cool.
Suit was cool.
Yeah. I was expecting to see a whole lot more vibranium in her suit because she's been with the Wakandans, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, we need to build a suit.
Yeah.
Not once were they like, you want to use some vibranium?
Right. Well, I'm thinking her suit is vibranium, her second suit, because she builds it there in Wakanda.
If it's vibranium, then why is it so chunky?
I don't know, man.
I thought it wasn't with vibranium because they never mentioned anything about vibranium in the suit. So I'm just giving it the benefit of the doubt that it doesn't. Yeah. And I was like, well, the feet make sense, right? Of like why it's so chunky, having to have those extra thrusters in there and stuff like that.
Fucking Tony Stark has nanobots by the end.
Right.
You know? And so if that tech already exists.
Well, well, if that tech exists, the junkyard suit makes sense, right?
Right.
But then, being with the Wakandans who
literally gave Tony the idea for nano.
Right. So why is that part doesn't make sense. Yeah. But I don't know. I look forward to seeing.
I want to see more of her character.
I do, and I want to see a lot of progression. But I did feel like her
character was kind of tacked in.
I want to see a lot of progression with her character.
Now I do like that she leaves her suit behind.
Yeah,
because then it's like, okay, so in her show, she's hopefully going to just have to make her own suit again, and it'll be less sleek in a gross way. It was sleek in a way that didn't feel real. Her flying is one of those shots that I was talking about seeing on, I think maybe TikTok or Reddit or something, that was slowed down, and it looks like video game graphics and not great video game graphics. Yeah. And I was like, boo. We're jumping around a little timeline wise, or like, I guess, what I'm saying, chronologically. But I did think that Shuri had an interesting dynamic, like you talked about with Namor, where Namor's whole thing is that because the Wakandans aren't providing enough vibranium to the world is starting to look for vibranium elsewhere, and they found it in the ocean, which just so happens to be where Namor and his people live. Right. And they live amongst vibranium-enriched, areas. And so now they're basically the underground or underwater Wakanda.
Yeah, and they're like, you're destroying our home.
Yeah, and they come to Wakanda to basically be like, hey, get us the scientists that made this, and so that we can kill them, and then we'll be Gucci. And if you don't, we'll come kill you before we take on the rest of the surface world.
Yeah, because there's a scientist who was Ironheart. Yeah. That made a drill that
like a vibranium detector.
Or that's what it was, a detector. That's how they found it, and then they want to kill her because of it.
And Shuri loses her mom. And so it's like, damn, I
wasn't expecting that.
No.
That was a curveball, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah, because Angela Bassett was carrying.
She kills that role.
I mean, Angela Bassett's an excellent actress. Yeah. But like,
I didn't see a real purpose of why she had to be killed off.
Yeah, because like her, I think about her scene with Okoye, where Okoye kind of fumbles the bag and lets Shuri get kidnapped. When Okoye was like, she'll be fine, I got her, And it's like, I mean, your whole job is to not let that happen. And
what did you just do?
Yeah,
we'll let that happen.
And so, old mama T'Challa there, she's like, yeah, you're fired, And she has that great speech where, like, because Okoye tells her, like, I've given everything for this, and that's when she tells it's in the trailers. I'm the queen of the most powerful country on earth, and I've lost my whole family's gone. No. Have I not given everything?
I like the part where she mentioned, she's like, Killmonger came in and you followed him, and I welcomed you with open arms when we were back in power. Yeah, and this is what you do, and I was like,
yeah, like there is some awkward. Speaking of Killmonger, he has a little appearance in the spirit realm when Shuri, her whole thing is she failed to save T'Challa because she was trying to manufacture
the fruit,
the heart-shaped herb, like a synthetic heart-shaped herb, and she just couldn't, and so T'Challa passes, and she uses some of the fibers that turned Namor's people into what they are. Because it's basically a very similar thing to the heart-shaped herb, and she uses that to basically reverse engineer heart-shaped herb. She takes it and goes to the spirit realm, and instead of seeing T'Challa or any of her father or any of them, she sees Killmonger
sitting on that throne,
and she was pretty pissed off that that's who she got. And I mean, he kind of tells her like, I think there's a reason you saw me, baby, you know? And it's because, you know, your dad was a liar. He was a hypocrite. Your brother was too honorable. Basically.
Yeah.
You know, his downfall was that he didn't have what it took to be a king because of his honor, right? And I think you got the right stuff, girl, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you're angry, you want some revenge, and
You want to get shit done.
yeah. And it's like, yeah, because I mean, there's that concept of like, and to,
Which makes me sad, because I liked Killmonger's character, and
Yeah,
I wish
they
he
hadn't killed him.
hadn't died.
yeah, yeah, because I would have liked to see him maybe become Black Panther, just to see what that dynamic is like of him having to step up to the plate. But because I mean, you've got people like M'Baku who are now fully an ally. You know, which I mean, we kind of saw in like Endgame or in Infinity War, and Endgame. But
this one, he was actually like they were housing, for the Wakandans after their home was attacked,
and like providing counsel, and all that. Which, by the way, at the very end, after they kind of come to a truce with the, I keep wanting to call them Atlanteans, but the, what do we call their fucking place? Telecon.
Yeah,
Was that it? The Teleconians, his people, they kind of come to an understanding where she gives him the business. She gives Namor the business, rips off some of his ankle wings.
Yeah, hard.
Which I do think an achievement of theirs is the ankle wings weren't goofy.
No, I don't think so at all.
Which they kind of are a goofy idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they never were like, man's got wings on his ankles. But she yanks off his ankle wings.
And he flies right out, and she grabs just the wing and rips it off.
Like, ooh. And yeah, she's dehydrating him. Basically, is how she manages to fight him. Is like, I'm gonna put him in a very hot ship with the heat cranked up to about 120, and just sweat him out, and then drive him to the middle of the desert and fight him there. Where there's no water for him to gain strength from, and she's giving him the business. And she straight up roasts him with the afterburner on her crashed ship. She like sears his back.
Yeah.
And you and I both like, oof, damn. And he survives, luckily. Because
they don't kill him.
They don't kill him. She actually has like a moment of clarity where she's like, all right, I shouldn't kill this guy.
Yeah.
And lets him go. And basically he's like, all right, preach. And they head back. The third act, I don't really have much to say about, because like the fight on the ship was weird. Where like the Wakandans' whole plan was like, we're going to take this weird ship that has just a flat top.
Yeah.
Where like, it wasn't clear if it was a submarine.
But it never went underwater.
It was just a weird ship. It was basically a silver wedge with no railings.
It looked like a submarine, but with a flat top.
Yeah.
That was big.
And they're all standing on top of it.
Fighting.
And I'm like, they're going to fall off the side. There's no railings. That for some reason really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And like its whole job was just to go out there and blast sound into the water.
Which fucks up with their
I don't know, hearing. You know what I mean?
Like cause them to kind of wig out.
Scramble because they can't hear sound travels well underwater and all that, and they break that and then just start
real quick
hand-to-hand fighting.
Yeah, they break that
on top of the ship, which was an odd one for me because it's like, okay, so you've got the two most advanced countries on Earth, or nations on Earth, civilizations, whatever, and they're resorting to spear fighting, and it's like they've got like dragonfly ships that shoot vibranium rounds, and bombs of water.
Which were kind of
cool. I don't know. It just felt so awkward and weird. And I told Morgan this, and I thought about it late, and I was like, damn, yeah, that was right. Like, She-Hulk pointing out the flaws in a Marvel finale.
Yeah.
Really kind of, like, for me, I was like, this is what she's talking about. Like, we're just going to throw everything at the wall. It's going to be a big fight, CGI everywhere. Ironheart's got a new chunky suit. Fucking Okoye's got a chunky suit where she has to pull the mask away to quip at people and then put the mask back, and it was just wasn't good. And it was like, just let her fight like Okoye.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like it like I wanted to. Unfortunately.
And that's why I think I was whelmed.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it could have been vastly better. I think the only other thing there is that I did, talking about Shuri wanting that revenge, I thought there was an interesting parallel between her in this movie and T'Challa in Civil War. Of like, T'Challa's trying to avenge his father, she's trying to avenge her mother. And so I thought, okay, well, that's an interesting dynamic there.
Yeah.
And then M'Baku, I thought he kind of gave off like protective brother vibes.
Oh, yeah.
In a good way.
Definitely being there for her.
Yeah.
Shuri's suit was cool, but it was a spitting image of Killmonger.
Yeah. I think it was Killmonger's suit.
Was it?
I think so. I think that was the like significance of it.
Honestly, we saw her with the hand cannons on it.
Yeah,
I thought she was
like,
going to have
claws.
a shit ton of more tech on it.
Yeah, because she's a techie. That's her
big
thing. She's not
like,
a fighter. She's a
she's
tech person.
So I wanted to see more of that, and we
didn't.
Didn't.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure M'Baku might be the king of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want the leadership.
So if that's the case, then can he be the king? Or can he be the Black Panther too?
So I don't know that there's two Black Panthers at the same time. But if you recall, like in Civil War, T'Chaka is the king, but T'Challa is the Black Panther. So they don't have to be the same person. Yeah. They just sometimes are. You know? M'Baku is Black Panther.
Dude,
that'd
with
be
that
interesting.
Club that he has,
yeah.
See what
and
do
to see his fighting style be, because he's not cat-like. You figure his people are gorilla tribe. Is that what they're?
Yeah. I think they had like a bunch of like larger orangutan.
Orangutan and gorilla. They're apes. Is their stat? You know, they're like
and out in the snow.
Animal that because they're the mountain tribe.
Makes me think of the Yeti.
But yeah, and that's why they do like the hoo. But yeah, so his little thing is they're doing the fight at the side of the waterfall, basically set up, and they're like, you know, basically asking for Shuri, and the ship lands and M'Baku steps out and it's like basically like, Shuri didn't want to be here, but I challenge for the throne, you know, and you don't see anything, but whoever he goes up against, he's probably going to give the business to. Right. And so I think he might be the king, was the implication there, which is pretty cool.
Well, yeah.
And then the big reveal in like the mid-credit scene was that T'Challa had a son with Nakia. And because that was an interesting little wrinkle, was that Nakia ran away, essentially. She left after the blip. And, you know, T'Challa's just gone,
and she moved to Haiti,
and is like a teacher there, and you know, or like a headmistress there, which was kind of interesting.
I just think it's a funny dynamic duo of being a hitman and then being a teacher.
Yeah, exactly, being a caretaker who can kill you with her thumb. You know, I mean, yeah, because she's not like a warrior. She is like a secret. She's an infiltration assassin. Yeah,
she gets in there, does the job, and gets out.
Yeah, she pretends to be a slave at the beginning of the first one, you know, and is mad that T'Challa kind of broke her cover.
Makes sense.
But yeah, and so yeah, they had a son named T'Challa, and I do think again that was another honor of Chadwick Boseman, was she kind of talks to him about how like your father prepared us for this, you know, and like it's okay, and that's why we didn't go to the funeral.
But we had our own.
Yeah, we had our own ceremony here, and so it was nice that like. Obviously, there's potential for that character to still live on in a good way. You know, that it's not like you're not recasting. It's nothing like that. This is literally that character's son. You know, and so somewhere down the line, there is a T'Challa potential. Yeah, you know, and that he kept his son away from the throne because he just didn't want him to have to do that. You know, but I mean, all in all, it was a good movie. It just wasn't what it could have been, or I think should have been.
I think it strayed. It just wasn't what we were expecting. Yeah, and I think we're going to be in the majority with that. I do
too.
Cause like you were saying, it wasn't bad. It's just not what we were thinking it was going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, it's an unavoidable. I do think that Chadwick Boseman's absence was felt. Yeah. You know, you had a lot of supporting characters from the first movie have to step up into a more main role. And because they were supporting characters in the first movie, they weren't as interesting. You know what I mean?
I completely understand that to a certain extent, but I also want to say I think they have, obviously Chadwick Boseman is a very talented actor, but I think all of the actors and actresses are very talented, and I just wish there's a little more.
Yeah. But Chris, you got a cryptid over there?
Welcome back to Chris's Cryptid Corner. I'm your host, the Douche. So this week, I will in fact be talking about the Hodag. The Hodag thing. This is one that was recommended to us by...
Black Pebbles 18.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's see. So, the Hodag, and I'll just say what, the definition of the creature, and then I'll just kind of... pre-read, a bunch of stuff, so I'll just talk about that.
Would you say that you prepared?
You correct. Correct.
God, son, do you have a fever?
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more Hodag.
Is preparation.
It's preparation. So the Hodag is a folklore animal of the American state of Wisconsin, referred to as the fearsome critter. Its history is focused mainly around the city of Rhinelander in northern Wisconsin, where it is said to have been discovered. So let me give you all the deets.
The cheeseheads.
The cheeseheads. So back in 1893, right?
Yep.
Newspapers, the prospector. Newspapers were growing galore.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone was seeing a bunch of this shit about the discovery of the Hodag in Rhinelander.
Yeah.
People are losing their fucking minds. I mean, people are going to the high heavens. I mean, all the way, and this is because I told you beforehand, it's just from what I've read, it's a fairly short cryptid.
Yeah.
But like, people lost their minds so fucking much that Eugene Shepard came out and was like, yeah, this is fake. Like, the guy who came out and said it was like, this is fake.
Yeah,
like, you guys need to really chill out.
You guys gotta chill the fuck out. Like, I was joshing you.
So,
dude, like, straight up was like, you guys need to chill the fuck out. I was lying.
It doesn't, like, in everything,
ruined his
I
small
read,
town.
I mean, yeah, in everything I read, it doesn't talk about how long it was for. It just mentions, like, it was in the newspapers. They took, or made a drawing of what it looked like, and it looked like, I think they said, like, it was the body or the head of a bullfrog with the body of a dinosaur with horns like of an ox.
Yeah.
And just like a super short legs, but they're real wide and stout, you know, and it's just super spiky.
Yeah.
Right. And the origin is from it was the incarnation of oxen, of dead oxes.
Okay.
For like all the animal cruelty. It was what, it's basically a bad spirit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eugene
like the buffalo from where we killed all the buffalo.
Right. Something similar to that. And people were just losing their fucking minds.
Coming from all over.
And here I have more specifics of. I have actually the article pulled up here, just the word for word.
Yeah.
The head of a frog with a grinning face of a giant elephant, thick, short legs, set off by huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and a long tail with spears at the ends. I mean, people. They're closing shops. Wisconsin's just no
shutting
longer
down. Yeah,
in there. Like,
Wisconsin's in a state of emergency. It's basically anarchy.
And
if they were more advanced, there would be martial law.
It's the dude, I just imagine reading that in the newspaper. Just
Baby, honey, did you see the news? There's something called a hodag. He shows her the picture, and she's like, she grabs the kids, holds him close, starts crying.
Gotta get in the basement.
Yeah. Prepare the cellar. We need 2 weeks worth of food. They're gonna hide out and let this thing blow over.
Turns out the hodag is just Jerry. He works in the coal mine. Yeah. He's been out there for a week.
What was the guy's name that came up with it?
I don't remember.
You just said it.
Huh?
The guy that came out and was like, I lied.
Oh, Eugene. I thought you said the guy we... made up a name for it. I was like, oh, I don't know.
I like that you acted like you knew what I was talking about, but like, I don't remember.
I was thinking, I was like, I don't know. I was trying. I was thinking.
Yeah, Eugene's just like, all right, guys, I got a confession to make.
Eugene,
I was just yanking your leg.
I was just playing around, bro. Like, y'all getting way too serious.
You know how I get when I drink. I just say shit, you know? I'm sorry. That's not bad.
Nothing's real.
Yeah, I'm just goofing.
But, a photograph of the remains of the charred beast was released to the media as the fiercest, strangest, most frightening monster to ever see razor-sharp claws on Earth. It became extinct after its main food source, all-white bulldogs, became scarce in the area.
Its main food source, all white bulldogs.
Just strictly white.
Yeah. And no spots, nothing. I like my bulldog whiter than milk, you know what I mean?
Oh, and the purebreds. Give me nothing but white.
Nothing but white on him, and he's just eating white bulldogs.
It's like, well, they're getting scarce in the area. Sam's Club don't have them no more. They're on a shortage.
Supply chain problems, you know?
But, I mean, we put a picture up for the last scripted, so maybe we'll have to do something now.
On Instagram Reels and shit.
But the aftermath, of the Hodag, I mean, it's become a mascot for a high school. I mean, it becomes like just this mascot for
like a cult classic type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm reading here. It's it's huge for like attraction businesses,
sure,
and organizations. And all the way to the extent the Hodag has its name and image in the Hodag County Festival. So Hodag's straight up a county.
Yeah.
Like, it's become such like this guy got us so fucking good.
Yeah.
We gotta name a
what
town.
What a prank. What a goofster, you know?
In 2015, in the 2015 version of The Fearsome Creatures, a horror-inspired retelling, the Hodag is now so this is current day, what they picture it to be. A 3,000-pound carnivorous bull-horned rhinoceros with a spiny back, it tears her. Okay, that leads into something else. But so, basically, and I have a picture we'll throw up, and it's just the one that's like in front of a cabin, but they just made it bigger.
Yeah.
Right, so instead of like,
what if that Hodag thing, but bigger?
I mean, bigger is scarier.
Not necessarily. Small things can go up your nose.
I got something that's small that can go up your nose.
You can cut it out. You straighten up.
That's right. Small things can be scary, bro. Watch
your pinky
out.
Finger.
That ain't my pinky.
Right, it's your pinky finger, right?
Thank you so much for listening. No, but and it made a bunch of appearances in pop culture, though. Here it just has a list. The Army of Hodags served the Jersey Devil in the children's book series Cassie and the Jackalope.
Oh, wow, that New York Times bestseller.
New York Times. The Hodag made an appearance in a video game called Magical Diary, released in early 2011. I'm not sure if you knew that game or not.
I do not.
I did not, and I was like, doesn't ring a bell whatsoever.
Doesn't sound familiar.
But it was used as a villain in the Scooby-Doo. I mean, just a lot of TV shows, mysteries, museums, everything like that. It was in a short stories in an encrypted series. Mm-hmm. But really, other than that, I didn't see too much.
It's a prank.
Yeah, it was just a prank that kind of got out of hand
into it, got its own
really
life.
Quick. And then when the guy was like, I was just pulling your legs, they're like, that's such a good joke. Let's name a town.
We're going to make a whole fair about this.
Based around it. Yeah. So, I mean,
some people have the Pumpkin Festival.
Black Pebbles 18?
Yeah.
Black Pebbles 18. If you had any information or anything else, I mean, I checked a couple different websites because I wasn't super intrigued by it. Just because, I mean, it's like, what a classic prank.
Yeah.
Definitely send the way, and I can do some follow-up research. But I think that's interesting enough. Like the fact that it's just it's a cryptid, right? Because it's this creature.
Yeah.
But
It's just a fucking joke.
The guy had to come out feeling, bro.
I was joking,
It's
guys.
just a social experiment. Just a prank, bro.
Yeah.
But, other than that, I thought it was pretty interesting. But, what you been thinking about, Colin?
I meant to talk about it last week, and I forgot. I've watched All Quiet on the Western Front on Netflix. And I watched it twice inadvertently. Mm-hmm. Gotta tell you, this isn't a negative review of the movie. Don't watch it more than once in a row, because it is an emotionally brutal film. I only watched it twice because I watched it once in the German with the English subtitles, which is like the original version of it.
Sure.
But then I was like, it defaults on Netflix to like the English with subtitles. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I wonder what the English dub sounds like. You know what I mean? And so I played it. And I was like, just trying to show Morgan like the opening scene, right? And then I just got wrapped up in it again and just ran it again. But I was like, I'm crying both times. And I'm like, why did I watch this again? You know? But it made me think about it with like Veterans Day just happening. Mm-hmm. And Veterans Day in the U.S. falls on the 11th, which is Armistice Day everywhere else, because it's the day that World War I ended. Mm-hmm. In 1918 on November 11th. And so it's definitely a movie that I recommend people watch. Definitely, like, don't watch it with a kid at all. Mm-hmm. It is like, what are the most horrifying things that can happen in a war? Let's put that in a movie and a book, you know? But it does a very good job of conveying how terrible that war specifically, but war in general is, from a soldier's perspective, as far as like, I mean, I think I read you the opening quote from the book. That's, I don't have it off head, but it's basically something to the effect of like, this is neither an accusation nor an admission of guilt. This is simply like what it was, you know? And then the line from it was, what is it? Even though the soldiers may have survived the, I'm butchering a quote from a very famous book. I'm just going to pull it up so I don't embarrass myself. So the quote is, "This book is to be neither an accusation nor a confession, and least of all an adventure. For death is not an adventure to those who stand face to face with it. It will try simply to tell of a generation of men who, even though they may have escaped shells, were destroyed by the war." And and I think that's a good summation of like what the movie tries to convey. Mm-hmm. Is like, even though you might survive and go home, there's no way that after what's going on here, you'll be who you were when you got there.
Right.
And it, like I said, it's a very emotional movie, pretty gruesome. I'm kind of desensitized to horrible graphic violence through just movies and video games and all that. But I did see a lot of people...
Unrestricted internet access at the age of 12.
Yeah, exactly. But I did see some people online talking about how, like, I think it's the scene that I showed you. There's a scene with trench warfare in it, and it's pretty gruesome. And like, I saw people online being like, that shit, like I had to look away and like it gave me nightmares. And I'm like, Jesus, I'm just desensitized to it, but I could see, I mean, it is horrifying.
Yeah.
And yeah, so weird recommendation to make, to describe it that way and then be like, but you got to watch it. But it is almost like a responsibility, I think, of like, if you're even sort of interested in a war film that's not glorifying it, it's definitely like the one to watch. It's like it and Saving Private Ryan, you know, where it's the ugly truth, you know? And then to change gears a little bit, I've been playing God of War Ragnarok all weekend. Like a madman. And I'm like
trying to wait till you're done with it so I can play it, you know, because, you know.
Yeah, we're going to do it next week for the podcast.
Yeah, so I gotta burn through. I gotta dig.
I don't think we're gonna be at a spot where we're both done with it.
No, but still, I'd like to try to catch up with you, so we have more to talk about.
Yeah, because I was like, I was looking at, I've got like 28 hours of gameplay in, and judging by how many story missions they said there are and which story mission I'm in, I'm like maybe 60% of the way through the story, and I'm like, holy fuck. But I also am doing a lot of side content, trying to get my money's worth, you know, and my time's worth. But I'm like, oh man, this thing's not a slog, but I don't want to review it here.
Right.
But, you know, yeah, there's a lot of game there. And Yeah, I've been playing the hell out of it.
We've also been playing the fuck out of
Battlefield 1? Yeah.
Yeah, shit went on sale on Steam, and we just ate it. We've been eating it. Like
Is that what you've been thinking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Battlefield 1 as well as I'm thinking about I've been playing Among Us came out on the VR.
Yeah.
And I tried that out. And it wasn't too bad. Going out to like starting in the cafeteria. The map is a they only have the first one out, right? But it is an exact layout.
But it's first person, is that right?
Correct. So yeah, you are first person. The only thing is like it's not, so you use one Joy-Con to move and then use the other to look, but the only thing is it's not like a free look. You have to stop moving and then move it exactly to the left and you'll pivot.
Oh, like shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a very flow. It's not, which I was a little bummed about.
Yeah.
And there's little things here and there, but it still just came out.
How's the motion sickness in it?
It's not bad.
That's good.
It's not bad. I will say there as funny as it's going to sound, there's a lot of kids in there and then there's a lot of annoying adults.
Yeah, right.
And I would prefer to take
the kids?
Yeah. Because the kids will play the game.
Right.
Like, I played with some mom who kept fucking screaming at her kids because they were trying to Chromecast it. And I was like, if your kids are going to watch, that's fucking fine, but do it before you play the goddamn game.
Get it figured out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to... trying to fucking kill you guys and then, like, hear you yelling at your kids.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not going to say anything because I understand that, like, I've been seeing those memes lately where it's like...
like the 30-year-old dad.
saying, like, hey, I tried, good game, bub.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, man.
What have I
feel
done?
like a monster for killing the guy.
So I'm not just shit-talking, so I'm trying not to say nothing.
They're like, all right, well, I'll be on... If you guys want to play again, I'll be on next Wednesday between 8 and 9. And you're like... Oh, no. Yeah. I get to play this game like a fiend, and this guy's just trying to cut out a piece of his life to play games and still enjoy it, and you just killed him because he doesn't get time to get good at it.
Just called him
you
ass.
got me. Yeah. Get shit on! And he's like, oh, you got me. You're good, bud.
Yeah, you're good at this game, man.
Yeah.
That's the one I saw is Anakin when he's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
But that's really what I've been thinking about. I'm going to be playing some Chivalry 2 tonight, which is a game I haven't played in a while.
I love that you say it like you're streaming. So if you guys want to hop in the stream.
Yes, if you want to hop in the stream, appreciate that chat.
Yeah.
No, but I will be playing some
Thanks
Chivalry.
for the 200 subs,
Yeah, thanks for the like chat. No, but so yeah, I'll be playing that tonight, and I'm kind of excited. I'll play a couple rounds, and then we'll probably hop on Battlefield.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I am off tomorrow.
Yeah, you are. Some of us have to fucking make a living in this house.
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, I just worked at 12.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been thinking about. I'm trying to think anything else. No, that's about it for me.
Excellent. I'm glad we had to think on it.
Yeah.
Let me ponder here. Nope. Nope. Just eyes in the air, all rolled back.
Let me think on it.
Just go all milky-eyed. Nope. Coming up
Just
empty.
come to.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nada. Oh man, that's sweet. I know you've mentioned it. We've got to film this thing because that was funny to us and nobody else.
Nobody's gonna get that. We gotta start doing that.
So, again, we want to thank you guys so much for your attention and support. If you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a great review and tell your friends about us. Share us on social media. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to it, make sure that you like, favorite, subscribe, whatever the terminology is on there. Yes. So that way you get notifications whenever we post new episodes. Mm-hmm. Speaking of new episodes, I tried to redirect people through our Facebook and Instagram, but Morgan posted a new episode of her Couple of Creeps podcast on Sunday. And she does have her own feed now, so that won't be popping up in this feed. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll link it below this in the description. They're just a couple of creeps, and you'll find her that way. I was in that episode. I think next week it's not going to be one of us in it.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's got her own crew, I suppose. The birds flown the nest, you know.
Bunch of empty nesters.
Yeah. But no, we mentioned last week we started a Facebook group. So definitely make sure you check that out and just converse amongst yourselves. Send us some ideas, things like that.
Yes.
If you're already a member, I think I mentioned, you should be able to see you should get an automatic invite to the group if you're a member of our page. And as well as there's a subreddit that somebody made in there. So check that out too.
Yeah.
All some cool stuff. And so we would love to get some more back and forth with you guys. So whether it be email, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, make sure you holler at us. But what are those handles over there, Chris?
Yeah, you can always, take a look at us on our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at Simply Whelmed Podcast. You can always take a look at our Twitter handle, which is whelmed_simply. And then our email, which is simplywhelmedmailbag@gmail.com.
I have a confession to make.
What?
I don't think I've posted a YouTube video in like 4 weeks.
Well, you might be able to. You partially listen to us on YouTube.
When you said on YouTube,
I know I said
don't know
YouTube,
why, but my
and
brain
your
was
eyes just opened up real wide, and you're. I thought I said something wrong, and I was like, no.
No, that's what I was trying to give you the thumbs up. You're gooch, my guy. Yeah, I'm 98% certain I have not posted a YouTube video. But I had to back catalog some of them boys. You know what I mean?
If you want, because we have everything saved, I'll go through maybe tomorrow or sometime on my day off and just post them all.
Yeah. I can't believe it. Yeah, let me look here. I'm going to check that because I don't know how long I've forgotten, but I know that I've not been doing it. Let's see. We got a whole 5 subscribers that I've disappointed with that. So let's see here. Your channel. Episode 31, so 6 weeks.
Damn, dude, we've been doing this. How long have we been doing this shit? 30-something.
This will be the 37th episode, so that's 37 weeks, my girl. My girl. So,
we're gonna have to stop episoding these.
Why?
It's gonna get so long. We're gonna be episode 487.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look how much fucking breath that took from you. Episode 487. Now, what? I'm gonna keep numbering them because that's how we know.
That is how I know.
Next week, we're going to talk about God of War Ragnarok. It is a very long game, like I said, so it may not be about the complete spoilery.
Yeah.
So we'll just kind of have to play it by ear as far as how far you make it.
I've been trying so
Stay
hard.
off TikTok the best you can.
TikTok and Instagram. Both.
Yeah.
I've been seeing so many fucking memes, and the second I start to read it, I flick away.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I haven't seen anything. I've been really good.
I've got to be careful because I'm super invested in it now. And we're I can maybe see where things are going. And then I'll be scrolling. I'll see something where I'm I don't know if I've seen that. And I just keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm trying to, tomorrow I got to edit when I get off work. So, I won't get to play tomorrow too much.
I could edit. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah. But I think that's everything. That's the end of the show, Chris. We'll see you next Wednesday. Say bye.
Bye. I always wait until you tell me to say bye.
Say bye.
It's one of those speak when spoken to kind of things.
Alpha eats first, you know?